some people just like, oh, I got bar graphs, and if you don't believe my bar graphs, here are more bar graphs. Like, a bar graph is not always going to tell you what you need to know, right? Like, sometimes you want to see somebody play the game. The RTX 5090 is bananas. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. I don't know why people do that though. I don't personally like it when people make their voice sound like extra like hyperbolic and just crazy for no reason and talk with their hands and stuff. But anyway, let's get right into it, guys. We're not going to waste no time. Today, we're going to be going over some more benchmarks. These are first party benchmarks provided by NVIDIA. So obviously take them with a huge mountain, ocean, you know, whatever you want to call it, of salt, right? And really, the only thing we need to focus on is these first two columns. Everything else is all that trickery stuff. Don't worry about that, right? We don't need to worry about that. That's just like, that's icing on the cake. That's not the life of the party. That's not the main ingredient. Let's not worry about that. But these first two columns, just like the last set of charts, is where you can kind of get an idea of what you're really gonna get with these next generation cards here. So let's take a little closer look, right? Right now, this is the 5090 charts. Again, ignore these. This is where you're looking at. And let's read the fine print real quick. 4K, max settings, DLSS, super resolution, which is upscaling, ray reconstruction, which is like adding the lighting and the shimmering and all that shit and making it look better. This is turned on the 40 and the 50 series. Now, the regular frame generation is on the 40 series. So when you see DLSS, just regular DLSS, that means they have frame generation turned on the 40 series. Multi-frame generation is where you're going to see that is if you see DLSS 4, right? But that's only on the 50 series. So that's why the rest of these are not good to look at, because they're comparing apples to oranges, not apples to apples, right? You follow me. So let's check these first two. This one, Resident Evil 4, it's just ray tracing, no DLSS. You're seeing about I want to say it looks like a 30% increase. Now, there was another site that did, let me see if I can pull up the screenshot. They did an actual like pixel count to show you exactly how much percentage increase you're seeing in that benchmark. As you can see here, this is based on the two that NVIDIA provided. So in the in the 5090 to 4090 comparison, you're looking at a 33% increase. In the 5080, it's a 15% increase. In the 5070 Ti, it's a 20%. And in the 5070, it is a 20%. Now let's go back and look at this 5090 chart here again. I can see that looks about 30%, right? It looks about 1.3 times. The 5080, yeah, you can tell it definitely shrunk, right? Looks about 15%. Now, to me, if you go back and look at this chart, it's telling you that the shader increase, right? It's comparing the amount of shaders, the technology, the hardware that they increased on the technology. They're comparing that to how much of increase of performance you're getting in the benchmark. And I'm quoting around performance because NVIDIA still handpicked these games, right? This is a first party benchmark. This is not an independent reviewer. Make sure you check out third party benchmarks, even though NVIDIA is not going to let you see it on the 5080 until launch day. We talked about that in the last video. Now, 33% is going to give you 33% on the 5090. 11% in shaders is going to give you 15% on the benchmark. Now, you may be asking, how is it not a one-to-one here? Well, bandwidth does play a smaller role in this as well, right? So it's not a one-to-one all the way across the board until you get to that super high end where the bandwidth on this is so large and the shaders, it's not going to make a difference, right? You can see a small, see how this is 11 to 15, 17 to 20. Now this one is kind of crazy. Only a 4% to a 20% benchmark increase. I don't know what type of voodoo trickery they're working on the 70 series, but we shall see if the third party benchmarks can confirm that. So let's go back and take a look here. Look, this is so stupid. 2.9 times, 3.7 times. Nobody cares when you're adding all the fake shit on top of it, right? I'm using you guys' terms, the fake stuff. I don't really think it's fake. I think it's just, it's niche, right? So not everybody is going to use this stuff, but that doesn't mean it's like fake or useless. That just means not everybody is going to use it. We know that if you play Call of Duty at 500 FPS, it's just ain't for you, right? But that doesn't mean that a single player, you know, Hogwarts Legacy, God of War type player won't find some value in some of this. So I'm not going to completely discredit it. Now, Daniel Owen took the liberty of giving us a average, right? So he took what we got on the first two games, or I'm sorry, on the first two charts, which was about 35%, 34%, and 37%. I believe I have that pulled up here. Let me get the first two charts too. So he has it actually here. So you look at Reddit, somebody pulled up the percentage increases on the first two, right? This is the first two that NVIDIA gave us before they started, before they changed it up. And not bad, right? So Daniel Owen did us a favor, and definitely go check him out. I'll leave a link to his channel in the comments because he does some great work over there. He's actually my favorite, I would say, big tech tuber to watch. Him and Frame Chasers, because they just give it to you raw. They're not doing extracurricular stuff with their voices. They don't seem compromised by sample reviews and preference from the brands and stuff. So I like to watch those two guys. You can watch whoever you want. If you're watching me, thank you, right? But he did us the favor of combining these to get us an average. And so the 4090 staying around 34, 35, 33%. That's fine. It's only a 25% price increase. I know that sounded fucking crazy coming out of my mouth. I'm sorry, guys. It's a 25% price increase, a 35% performance increase. Napkin Math is going to tell me that's a 10% price to performance increase, right? The rest of these, though, if they hit these numbers that Daniel has provided for us, the 5080 is a 24% on average increase for a 0% price increase. That's not bad. 25% price to performance. The 70 Ti, he made a little, the cell is not all the way open, so that says 4070 Ti, but the 4070 Ti to the 5070 Ti, you're looking at a 28% average increase in performance. That's not bad for a $0 price increase, right? And then the 70 versus the 70, I don't know how the heck they did it, but they're averaging at a 27%. I think this number is going to be lower. I don't know. I mean, obviously, like I said, on the lower ends, bandwidth does make a bigger difference. So with the DDR7 compared to the DDR6, right, that could help bridge the gap and give us a little bit more. But I don't know that we're going to be able to pull a 27. That's going to be putting the 5070 at 4070 Ti range, damn near, right? Like that's basically where it's going to be at. But if these numbers hold true, I think the value in these generations, I know what I said about the 5080 being a scam. If it's 20, I was thinking more like 10 to 20, right? If it's 25-ish, I mean, you don't want to pay $1,000 for an 80 series card. I get it. But at the same time, with no competition from AMD, where you at, AMD? At the same time, I mean, it's like, what you gonna do, right? You got to be somewhat realistic in this approach to, monitoring this and reacting to it. Or you could be one of those comment bros that just, you're the loudest in the room, but you don't have the majority opinion, so it doesn't really fucking matter. All right. I think at these prices and at these performance levels, outside of the 5090 for us crazy idiots that are going to go out there and camp it or have bots that can pick it up online in real time, super duper fast. Outside of that, these are pretty realistic, right? And then you get all the extra sizzle and sauce on top from NVIDIA that you can't get anywhere else. Now, AMD has done some more benchmarking and some more leaks that I'll go over probably in another video. That 9070 XT, though, I will just say in this one real quick, if they are aggressive on the pricing on that, if it's falling, which it looks like, I'll go and talk about it now. Fuck it. It looks like it's going to fall somewhere between the 5070 and the 5070 Ti, that by all accounts, right? If it's doing that, but it's somewhere in the $400 to $550 range, I don't know, man. I know the AMD fanboys will eat it up, but I mean, even like they might take a little bit from Team Green too, man, because the 16 gigabytes of VRAM is gonna be a big deal to some people. I think people make a bigger deal about it than it really is, but it is gonna be a big deal to some people. I don't know. Team Red might be able to steal a little bit of market share, but we all know that NVIDIA is still gonna hold their own. So I don't know. Sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think. I don't know that I would consider the 5080 a scam at this performance, at 24, 25-ish% on average with no price increase. I wouldn't consider that a scam. That 5070 is a 4090 is definitely a fucking scam if I ever heard one. So don't buy into that at all. Check out my short though if you want to see a funny, realistic representation of what that actually means. But yeah, I don't think that's a scam. I think if you're going for the 5090, you're not going to be disappointed, right? How could you be? It's the biggest and baddest thing out there. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Are you going to try and get one of these on launch day? Or are you going to wait? One of my commenters says he never buys anything, you know, within the first 6 months of release. I think that's a pretty smart tactic because you get to, not only do you get to see all of the third-party reviews from people that should be independent, but if somebody sends you something for free, are you really giving a completely unbiased opinion, bro? I don't know. I haven't received anything free to review yet, so I can't give you a tell if that's, but I just, in my mind, I don't think that you're gonna just shit on something even if it is trash. Like, you're gonna reword your words a little bit, whereas if you bought it with your own money, you probably would like shit on it, right? So I don't know, but let me know what you guys think, right? I think 6 months is a decent amount of time to wait if you're not like desperate, like if you're not jumping from, if you're not one of those guys that, oh, my 1080 Ti is still hanging on strong, right? If you're not one of those, not desperate to upgrade, if your games are still running decently, wait a little while, get some real reviews out there. And then, you know, a lot of times this new tech has bugs right early on too, right? So at that point, by the time you get it, if you wait a little while, the bugs will be ironed out. It'll be a better user experience. But let me know in the comments. Also, guys, let me say real quick, I'm getting the 5090 on day one. I promise. I'm doing a build. I'll drop that video and then I will be announcing how to enter the giveaway in that video. It's going to be free. It ain't going to cost you nothing, right? Just watch the video. That's really all you got to do. And we're going to give away my old system. It's not even a year old, honestly. It's a nice, if you want to know the specs of it, I'll let you know. Just ask me in the comments. But it's a nice system. We're going to give that away. I'm going to drop a shit ton of 5090 content to try to help this channel grow a little bit more early on. And then we'll keep going from there. But let me know what you think. Is this a scam? Will you be buying these? Will you be camping at Micro Center? Will you be trying to use your mouse at the ultra speeds to get one online on day one? Are you going to wait it out and wait to hear what I have to say and what others have to say? I definitely would recommend checking out Daniel. He does a great job. He's one of the few people that I will actually like watch and take seriously because he has that teacher mindset. He doesn't approach it from a just a non-realistic point of view, right? Like some people just like, oh, I got bar graphs, and if you don't believe my bar graphs, here are more bar graphs. Like a bar graph is not always going to tell you what you need to know, right? Like sometimes you want to see somebody play the game, right? Play the game and show me how it performs, right? Him and the guy from Frame Chasers, I don't want to try to pronounce his name because I'll screw it up, but just raw, real reactions and reviews. I like that type of shit. So if you like that type of stuff, that's what I'm going to try to bring you. I recommend those guys. They're much bigger than me. And until next time, guys, as always, one love.